Neither we need to mend ourselves or break ourselves. Nothing is wrong. If we say you need to mend yourself, it means you're broken. If you say you need to break yourself, it also implies you're broken, because it implies that who you are, how you are, is actually so broken that it can't be mended. The whole thing needs to be destroyed and sort of rebuilt. You don't need to do either. Spirituality is not about a fixing of yourself. It's also not about a breaking of yourself. It's simply about a very conscious decision. Look, if I'm standing at a point in the road or anywhere, I can only walk in one direction at a time. So I can either walk north or south, but not both. I can walk east or west, but not both. In the same way, we can either focus our lives internally, or we can focus externally. Most of us are focused externally. And by the way, by external, I don't necessarily mean the inanimate objects or animate objects in the world around me. It could be my physical body. It could be the chemistry and electricity of my physical brain. But external to the core of the self, external to soul, spirit, love. If I'm focused looking outward, then that's what I'm going to see, outward. And sure, the first things I'm going to see, if you imagine literally that you are standing, not in the road, but if you imagine that you're standing in your heart, deep within the core of your being, and you look outward, well, first you're going to see your physical body, including the workings of the brain, the mind. And then you're going to start to see the world literally outside. Other people, situations, experiences. Or you can look inward. But you can't do both simultaneously. Now, that calls for an important caveat, which is, in your life, you can do both. Spirituality does not mean I will never again look outside. It doesn't mean I won't enjoy beautiful music or a beautiful sunset or looking into the eyes of a loved one. It doesn't mean I'll never notice whether someone is tall or short or fat or thin or beautiful or handsome. But what it means is that at any given moment, my attention and my focus can only be in one direction. And so the path of spirituality says, I'm going to make a commitment to looking inward. I'm going to make a commitment to seeing myself first and then the world as spirit rather than as body, as content rather than as form. I'm going to look at essence rather than packaging. Again, doesn't mean I can never enjoy also the form or also the packaging, but I'm going to focus on content, on essence, on spirit. That's what spirituality literally means, is that focus on spirit. And it's just a shift. It's a shift in focus, a shift in direction. Doesn't require you to be fixed. Doesn't require you to be broken and put back together like Humpty Dumpty. It just requires you to say, I've been looking outside for a really long time, and it isn't giving me what I'm looking for, right? It's like that story that I love of the woman who's on her hands and knees in the road looking for something, and the wise man walks by and she tells him she's looking for her key. He also gets down on his hands and knees. He helps her look. And after some time, he asks her, where did you lose the key? Oh, she says, I lost it in the house. He says, then why are you looking in the road? She says, because see, it's very bright here. There's this big street light out here, so I can see very well. Inside my house, it's dark. He says, go back home. Go back in the house. It may be dark, but eventually you'll find it. And that's the shift that spirituality requires of us, is instead of looking out in the road, just because it's bright, instead of looking in the shopping centers, in places that are bright, or the lights that go off in our brain when, we get triggered in some way. We become angry, we become jealous, we want things. We feel lust, we feel greed, we feel desire, we feel aversion. Those all are very bright lights, not light in a quality of light, but light as in you can't ignore it. It pulls your attention. It grabs your attention. So they all are attention grabbing, intention grabbing, external aspects. Spirituality says, I'm going to look inside. I'm not going to allow myself to be distracted, to have my attention grabbed by the outside. I'm going to look within. I'm going to know that I am spirit, I am essence, I am content. I'm not form, I'm not packaging. I'm not this body. And then when I start to look externally at other people, at the world, I'll be able to see them as spirit, as content, as essence, rather than them as packaging. So rather than me and my package looking out at other people and saying, oh, okay, this is a handsome man or a beautiful woman, tall, short, fat, thin, successful looking, not successful looking, according to my standards of beauty, not according to my standards of beauty. Instead of that, you start to be able to look at others and see the self and realize it's you. That capital Y you, that capital S self, in there as well. And you start to be able to see you in them and to feel them in you. And that's what the path of spirituality is about. So no, you don't need to be fixed. No, you don't need to be broken and then put back together. You just need to shift the focus.